Okay, so welcome everybody to the live show here on Jacob's Aquarium. Taking your calls 323-282-7779 if you have a question about the hobby or you're having trouble with your aquarium in any way. I'm here to help, so give me a call and I'll see what I can do for you. Let's say hello to people in the chat room. Cod Crazy Clips, one of our regulars. I recognize his username. Hey man, how you doing? He asks, "Are you ordering the Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight?" I would like to, but actually we don't have cable. We have Netflix instead, so I can't actually do that. I wish I could, but to me, cable is too expensive. It's pointless because all I'm doing is watching commercials and like 5 minutes of actual programming. But in instances like this, or in cases like this where there's a fight or a special show that is going to air that you have to order, as they say, S-O-T, S-O-T-L. I don't want to say the bad word. Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean. So yeah, but you know what? Whatever. It's fine. I'm sure that, I can probably find another way of watching it. Maybe, we'll go to a bar or something and watch it. I don't know. But I'll figure something out because I definitely want to see Pacquiao drop Mayweather's ass. I want to see him kick his ass because he deserves it. So hi, Cod Crazy Clips. Thanks for that great question. Jonathan Suarez, Jim Schmong, Lando, I can't pronounce all these names. Lots of weird names. So welcome everybody to the show. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope your tanks are doing good as well. I wanted to start a new thing on the live show where I open with I open the show with basically just a small, tiny little bitty discussion on something that I want to talk about in regards to the aquarium hobby. Okay, so what we're gonna do, actually, that's funny. I feel like that guy from South Park. Okay. So today I wanted to open the show with a short discussion, and I want to see what you guys think about this topic as well. But I wanted to just talk about how, because I've experienced it, how people leave bad reviews for aquarium stores. Now, let me explain, because you may be thinking like, bad reviews for aquarium stores? What the hell is he talking about? Okay, so I'm sure most of you guys know I used to actually work at a fish store, and I helped lots of people from many different backgrounds, lots of people that had lots of questions, experienced, inexperienced people, pretty much everybody. But what I noticed was that the majority of people that came into the store were inexperienced, and they were coming into the store either to buy fish for the first time or to ask questions, which I think is kind of a little better that they do it that way. Because to me, this is just me, but I just think it's rude when somebody, they have a question about the hobby. Okay. They're having trouble with their tank somehow, and they think it's right to just call up a fish store, because they assume obviously that the person there knows everything about fish, to ask a question about how to fix the problem with their tank, when it's like, well, the store owner, had no correlation to that issue that they're having with their tank. The issue is not happening because of something they bought from the store or whatever, and the store owner does not benefit in any way from sitting on the phone for, sometimes my boss would sit on the phone for like 25 minutes with people to talk to them about, the problem. The store owner does not benefit in any way from that. So I think it's kind of rude for people to do that. So, it's better. It just seems more humble to me if they just come in and ask questions instead, because it's like, at least they're taking the effort to come down to the store and possibly buy something in exchange for, us talking to them and giving them all this information, basically like a crash course in, how to be successful in the hobby. So that's one of the issues. But so a lot of people that would come into the store were inexperienced people, and they were buying fish for the first time. Now, what I would try to do as an employee at a fish store was I would try to ask as many questions as possible. I would ask, have you tested your water? What's your chemistry like? Your water parameters, what type of filtration do you utilize with your tank? What's your maintenance schedule like? Anything and everything, so that I can get a clear picture of what environment this fish is going to be put into, and especially how old the environment is, because I'm sure most of you guys know you cannot put fish in a tank right away unless you're a TV show on Animal Planet. Then I guess you can put 500 fish in a tank, the day it starts. But we don't do that, Experience Hobbyists. We're a little smarter than that. But anyways, you don't do that. So a lot of people would come in, they would not answer the questions properly, or they couldn't answer the questions 100% accurately because they just didn't know. They were inexperienced. I mean, I remember one guy, I asked him, hey, have you tested your ammonia levels? He didn't even know what ammonia was in an aquarium. He knew what ammonia was, period, but he thought, like, I think he said, like, isn't that the stuff in Windex? And I'm like, yeah, that's... So that just gives you a little taste of how inexperienced these people were. So they wanted to go home with the fish. They wanted to go home with the fish, and they weren't going to leave the store without one. So what happened was, most of the time, a lot of people would come in and buy fish when they really shouldn't have. They should have waited until their tank was a little bit more cycled, things were stable, or they should have, made 100% sure that their water was up to par, everything was tested, to be correctly. But most people did it, And what would happen is they would buy fish. The fish would die 3 days later after, or even sooner than that, after they put it in their tank. And then just out of the blue, we would see a brand new review pop up on Yelp of our business, saying that they had a horrible experience at the store. We sold them an unhealthy fish. It's our fault that the fish died, and we refused to give them their money back and everything. When, that's completely not true. First of all, whenever a customer would say that, oh, we got a dead fish, we would always offer a full refund or a full replacement, no questions about it. But some people like to say things that aren't true when they're in that rage of writing a bad review on Yelp, And so when we would see these bad reviews, it would be like, well, that's completely unfair because our fish were healthy. We sold them a healthy fish. It was just that, they're inexperienced and their tank wasn't ready for fish, Now, of course, I can't say that's for every situation. Legitimately, fish do get sick. And sometimes you can sell people an unhealthy fish. But for the most part, that doesn't happen for quite a few transactions. And it only makes sense that these people are highly inexperienced, and their fish are dying, So I will admit that it does happen with every good store out there. Issues happen, fish get sick. I will admit that. But that's not the majority, in other words, okay? I know for a fact that because, like I said, I worked at a fish store, we have to take care of our livestock. We have to take care of them because every fish that we lose is money going down the drain. And some of these saltwater fish that we would have in stock were expensive, even wholesale, even the wholesale prices that we would pay. So it's something that I just think is incredibly unfair for somebody to do, to blame a fish store for their fish dying when it's truly their fault. And most of these people don't even know that we sold them an unhealthy fish because they don't even know that that's the root of the problem. And there's no way for them to find out. They can't dissect the fish and say, oh, well, he had a gallbladder problem and that's because of the store. You can't do that, So I think that when you buy fish from a fish store, you're taking a risk on both parts, okay? If you're inexperienced, you're taking a risk of possibly something happening to the fish because your tank's maybe just not ready for fish, you haven't tested your water, whatever, anything and everything. And you're taking a risk from buying a fish from a store because the fish could be genuinely unhealthy. It happens sometimes, And I just think if the fish does die, yeah, come back to the store, get a refund. Maybe they can somehow figure out how the fish died. Most of the time they can't because it's impossible sometimes. But don't leave bad reviews because that's not deserved. It's not... A business does not deserve a bad review in that case. If you came in and, there were, you were treated so horribly by the employees and, you just had a horrible experience, that person has every right to leave a bad review. But to leave a bad review because their fish died, and we did all we can do to get that information, from them so we can you give them the right advice so that they can buy fish or not, or buy this fish or not buy this fish and buy that fish instead. It's just not fair. So I wanted to open the show with this discussion because it's something that really, really has gotten to me over the years. Because I'm sure most of you guys know, if you follow me on my Facebook page, I'm actually going to be going to another fish store to film a store tour. Um, I think somewhere closer to the end of May, and of course, before I visit every store, I look at the reviews on Yelp, because I'm just curious, and even still, on this store's page, they had some bad reviews, and you can tell it wasn't deserved. The people that write these reviews, you can see just like by the way they word things that they're not experienced. But so I think it's incredibly unfair, for stores to have to deal with something like this, and I just think that you, if you're visiting a store for the first time, you shouldn't judge whether you should visit the store or not based on the reviews you read on Yelp. I think instead you should focus more on just going to the store and judging it for yourself, because I guarantee you most of the reviews on Yelp, yeah, well, some of them are 100% accurate. What they're saying is true. Most of the time, there's just a lot of inexperienced people that leave these reviews because they are angry and mad and they think it's the store's fault when it's actually their fault. So, that's that. I just wanted to talk about that because it just got to me. It really got to me because I put myself in the store's position. I was like, if I owned a store and I knew my fish were healthy, I knew I did everything and anything and everything to make sure my fish were, in tip-top shape, and somebody was leaving me bad reviews because they threw a fish into a tank that was a week old with ammonia levels out the roof, and gave me a bad review. I just would be pretty upset about that. So hopefully that changes. But, just like I said, don't judge whether you should visit stores based on the reviews you read on Yelp, because most of the time, some of these reviews are just undeserved and they're not accurate, Okay. All right. So let's move on. I gained a caller. Sorry, I forgot. I didn't answer your call. Let's see who's on the Skype line. Hi, you're on with Jacob. What's your question?
And give me a bad review. I just would be pretty upset about
Okay,
that.
you got to turn off your computer so you
Hopefully that
can
changes,
stay
but,
in
just
sync
like
with
I
the
said,
audio.
Don't judge whether you should visit stores based on the reviews you read on Yelp.
Hello. Okay. See, that's another issue. Even radio shows have this problem where people will listen to the show and then they'll call in, but they'll be listening to the show's audio, not the audio coming from their phone. So it's not in sync because there's a delay, but okay, that's fine. So yeah, switching gears now. If you guys would like to call in, if you have a question, phone number is 323-282-7779. And if you would like to call in through Skype, if you don't live in the United States, you can add Jacob's Aquarium to your Skype contact list and call me that way. So any questions in the chat room? Questions. 171 Marla says, one of the best aquarium lives. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I got to run. Hope you're in when I get back. Oh, okay. I saw fish with anchor worm and guppies with it, which is very weird. The guppies got a very... I can't read that. Okay. All right, let's see who's on the Skype line again. Hi, you're on with Jacob. What's your question? Hello, you're on with Jacob. What's your question? Trolls everywhere. Calling and just sitting there. Oh, let's call his number and let's just sit here and see what he does. Oh, look at that. I mean, what? What's the point of that? All right, so. Oh, calling from a different number this time. It's so funny that trolls will go to any length to try to ruin something that you do. Even if it means calling over and over again, right? Yeah. Evelyn, to me, have you any experience with anchorworms or like something from a horror movie? No experience with anchorworms. No, unfortunately, I don't. Love your plants. Just wish things wouldn't sell out so fast. Oh, I know. I apologize. See, the thing with that is I order as much as I can, but I can't fit a lot of plants in my tank, so I end up having to order small quantities of certain plants, and since they sell out so fast, it's like they're just gone in like a matter of weeks, and then I don't have a lot left. Sorry. Okay, I gotta block a few callers. I don't understand this. I'm trying to do something good for the community and take calls and stuff, and here's this guy just spamming my Skype line. I think that's kind of unfair, I think that's kind of unfair. But whatever. Okay. Michael Messiah, I am not a troll. I got disconnected. I'm calling right now. Okay. Well, I have the Skype open, so if you're calling, I should get your call. It's just that I was getting like two numbers calling me at the same time over and over again. So, kind of didn't seem a little, Why don't you get more tanks so you can stock more plants? Well, because I live in an apartment. We have rules. We have rules here in these apartments. I can't, under my current renter's insurance, have more than what I have now. Because if a natural disaster were to happen, an earthquake, and these tanks would fall over, it would do a lot of damage, just these two. But more than these two, if I had like 4 tanks, could you imagine if they all fell over during an earthquake? That would be a lot of damage. So it's just a matter of what my renter's insurance covers, and currently it doesn't cover more than this, unfortunately. But the good news is that we are trying to move into a house this year. We're just waiting on a response from the bank, to let us know if we've been approved for a loan or not. And if we do move into a house, I'll have more room, obviously, and I can have more tanks, and it'll help me run my business more efficiently. Running a aquatic plant business out of an apartment is extremely challenging. It is just not the easiest thing to do. So, why don't you upload more on your gaming channel? Well, I try to, but I'm not getting paid to make videos on my gaming channel, so it's kind of on the back burner. YouTube and my website is my full-time job. So, I mean, in order for me to stay alive, to have money to eat, I have to make money. So, I have to focus more on the channels that give me something back in return. So I do more for my other channels than my gaming channel currently, but I probably will upload more, soon. It's just like I said, I'm focusing more on my other channels for the time being. So, why do you have the water so high in smaller tanks? Are you talking about my 50 gallon? Well, it really doesn't matter how high the water is in there. If I had really, really demanding plants in there, like light hungry plants like dwarf baby chairs, well, I would probably lower the water level. But all I have in there is Anubias and Liguidia and stuff right now. So those don't really need highlight. So there's no reason to worry about extreme light penetration, So that's why I fill the water up so high. And also because my bed is literally like right here. I sleep next to my tanks. My tanks are in my room. So if my water level is lower, than what it is now, what happens is like, since my tank is right next to my bed, when my timer turns on my lights, in the morning, the light, instead of shining through the water and the water blocking it, the light will shine through the glass because the water level is lower, and like right into my face. So like I could just be sleeping peacefully, and then all of a sudden at 9 o'clock, pow, I get all this freaking bright light in my face. So yeah, I just put the water up to its normal level, unless I have really demanding plants in there. So Darren Becker, I also referenced your plants on sites on blog. Oh, thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. No, 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 no. Any plans on getting more in stock? Every week. Every week. Yes, every week I get orders of plants shipped directly from Florida. I like saying Florida. Florida. So I get new plants, new shipments of plants every week. So whatever is out of stock, will most likely be in stock, the following week. Okay, we're getting a call. Let's see if this one is successful. Hopefully, it's not another troll. Hi, you're on with Jacob. What's your question?
Every week,
Hello?
Hello, hi, you're on with Jacob. What's your question?
Hi. I was wondering what kind of filtration you have behind you.
Behind me, I'm using a Hydor Model 450 canister filter and a Jabo UV or 24 watt UV sterilizer. And connected to my canister filter is the ISTA MixMax CO2 reactor. And as far as filtration, that's about it.
Oh, well, that's good. I've always wondered what kind of filtration you have. I've always been looking at your tanks since the beginning, and I've seen them grow from nothing to these big tanks with beautiful lighting, all plants. So
Oh, that's
nice
really
to see what you can do.
oh, that's really cool. How long have you been watching my channel?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you answering my question, and have a good day.
Oh, okay. Thank you for calling.
Bye.
Hi, you're on with Jacob. What's your question?
Hi, I was just wondering, I have jungles out in my aquarium, and it's not really doing any good. I was wondering if you could give me any tips about it.
Okay. Well, first we'll start with what type of growing environment the plant is in. So, first of all, what type of lighting are you using, and are you dosing nutrients?
Well, for dosing, right now I am dosing some API leaf stone.
API what now?
API leaf stone and
API leaf
liquid
stone.
fertilizer.
Okay. So you're dosing liquid fertilizers, and how about your lighting?
My lighting, I have a home built LED lighting system that's more light than usual. Home
Okay.
built.
Okay. Do you know the Kelvin rating on that light?
What?
Do you know the Kelvin rating on that light? Usually, lights or planet tank should be around 6,500 K. Do you know the Kelvin rating of that light, or is that a mystery?
No, I don't know, honestly.
Okay. Well, the lighting could possibly be the issue. Most of the time with planet tanks, you want to stick around 65 to 6,700 Kelvin. Um, I know it sounds like you probably don't know what Kelvin is yet. So there's a great website, the Planet Tank Forum, and they have a section that talks all about Kelvin and PAR rating and stuff. I would encourage you to read up on that because that would give you a lot of good information about Kelvin. But as far as the problem with your jungle valve, that could be the first issue is your lighting. It just it couldn't be, or it can't. It most likely won't isn't the appropriate Kelvin rating. So what you can do is try to investigate that, see what you can do to change that, see if you can find out the Kelvin rating. And if it's not the appropriate Kelvin rating, try to maybe upgrade to a different lighting system. Now, as far as your liquid nutrients, you should consider possibly dosing a line of nutrients. And what I mean by that is different ones like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, CChem. They make a great line of nutrients. So if you can start dosing individual nutrients like that, I think that'd be a lot better than the leaf zone or the API leaf zone. Because that's pretty much like a beginner fertilizer. It's not really, it doesn't really do that great of a job. So see if you can get some of those other nutrients and investigate your lighting. See what kind of Kelvin rating it's at, and I think you should go from there. See what happens after that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
thanks for
Thanks.
calling in. Have a great day. How did you get into the hobby, and what was your largest fish you've ever owned? I got in the hobby when I was really, really young. Like, oh my gosh. I think I can, as far as I can remember back, I think, oh my God, I feel really old. I think I remember having a tank when I was, oh man, this is so long ago. I think maybe like five or six around there. I'm not pretty sure. I think my first fish was a fish that I bought or that I won at a carnival. It was a 12 cent feeder fish that I won in that game where you throw those ping pong balls in the thing, you know. um, and after that, I had like a beta fish and a small little beta bowl and a plant, you know. Um, and that just like that kind of snowballed into a bunch of other tanks later down the road. So, I mean, I've had tanks for pretty much my entire life. Like, I mean, I really can't imagine living without one. The largest fish that I've ever owned in the hobby would have to be a tiger Oscar. When I think back in 2008 or 2009, I had I believe it was a 50-gallon tank around there, and I bought a tiger Oscar, a black tiger Oscar, or well, it's black and red, but I bought a tiger Oscar from PetSmart, and he was just a little tiny baby. You know, he was so cute. You know, and I fed him worms, I fed him feeder fish, I fed him pellets. That fish would just eat anything. He loved worms though. He would go crazy for worms, and literally within, I would say, I think it was about a year and a half, he got to like 12, 13 inches long. This fish was huge. You know, he was huge. So he grew so large that I actually had to give him away to a friend. My friend in Newport Beach had I think it was like a 350-gallon tropical tank, so he had plenty of room for him. But I had to give him away because he just grew out of that 50-gallon tank. It was so small compared to him, you know. But that was the biggest fish that I've ever owned, and I really miss him. I really do. And he is still alive. I named him Jack, by the way, Jack Black, because he was black. He's a tiger Oscar. He's still alive. He's actually, you know, he's still alive and well. I talk to my friend occasionally, not so much because we had a falling out a couple years ago, but I've been trying to work on that with him. But yeah, I still talk to him, and you know, he tells me all the time, yeah, he's doing great, eating like crazy, eating those worms, and no, he's not a country western guy. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Bob, if you're watching. But yeah, so he's doing really great. But that was the biggest fish I ever owned was a tiger Oscar, and I really, really hope that I can someday own a big fish again because I don't know. I just like big fish. I think they're cool. I think it's a lot cooler than, you know, little neon tetras in a planet tank. But whatever. La 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 la. BP Productions. You should come visit Denmark. I got a friend that works for Tropico that properly could get you a tour of their facility. Oh, actually, I already have a business relationship with Tropico already. I sell their stuff. I'm waiting till I can get some more actually. So I'm sure if I had the time, money, you know, to fly over there and tour the facility, all I would have to do is call my sales rep and ask him. So, yeah, I can do that already. It's just a matter of getting there. I don't have money for plane tickets at the moment. It's so expensive. Ugh. So expensive. Will I ever stock live fish on my website? Oh, God. Most likely not. No. Selling live fish on the internet is incredibly difficult. And it can be incredibly frustrating as well. There are just like people that buy fish from a fish store, as we discussed earlier in the stream, or in the show, I guess I should say. There are people that buy fish online that are inexperienced and the fish die, and, you know, they want their money back. And it's an incredibly hard business to make a profit in. Also, similar to the issue I have with people buying plants, people will buy fish, and I guess they think that they'll be okay sitting in their shipping box on their porch for 6 hours while they're at work. You know, and the fish end up dying, and then those people want to blame the store for that as well, and then they want their money back for that, you know, that time. So I wouldn't sell fish online for those reasons, because to me, selling plants online is already stressful enough, because there's it's not a majority. I mean, I'll say that the people that order from my website are really great about that. They read up on all my information about opening the package as soon as you get it, putting the plants in your tank as soon as you get them. Don't wait, because they can die if they sit in their shipping box forever. So my customers are really good about that. But I do occasionally get somebody that I guess thinks that it was okay to leave the box on their porch forever and blame me for the plants dying, but whatever. So I mean that selling plants already to me is already somewhat stressful, and then something that I'm constantly worrying about, every time I ship an order. So I couldn't imagine selling fish and having to worry about that even more, because shipping fish that they're live creatures. I know plants are live, but fish are a little bit more delicate and a little bit more demanding. So that would just be more frustrating and stressful to me. So I don't think I would ever sell fish on my website just for that reason, because I wouldn't want to deal with all the people that try to blame me for their fish dying. And not to mention, to be able to stock fish on my website, I have to first of all have a good variety in order to compete with everybody else, and that would require so many holding tanks that I just do not have, and space that I don't have. So I mean, I could get fish, from a lot of distributors in LA. I live really close to LA, but it's just, I don't know. I just don't really want to have to worry about that all the time. I know John from KG Tropicals. I believe he was having some issues with his business as well. Something about like they're not getting as many sales or something like that. I don't know the whole story, but so also along with having to worry about troublesome customers, the fish market on the internet seems to be a little dim. I mean, I would say that not a lot of people are buying fish online because because shipping is so expensive. That's one of the big downsides to buying fish online, actually. Shipping to ship fish UPS one day or overnight, which basically you're not shipping fish, you're basically shipping water because the water is so heavy. That's what attributes to most of the cost. To ship fish UPS overnight or FedEx overnight, it can cost something like $65 to $70. It's incredibly expensive. So there's not a lot of people out there that really want to spend that much just to ship fish to them. So selling fish online is pretty difficult. For plants, it's a little bit more easier because they don't need to be shipped overnight. They're not that sensitive. So I can offer my customers a relatively low shipping cost. Actually, I think I currently offer the cheapest shipping costs online, which is $6.51. So with plants, it's a little different. It's a little easier. So I pretty much would just stick to plants. I don't think I would ever sell fish online because it's too much worry, too much hassle. Yeah, it's a lot more involved than plants, and that along with selling plants, that's a lot of work. So yeah, that's why I won't do it. I don't think I'd ever sell fish. I did try actually selling shrimp on my website. I actually put out a poll on my Facebook page, and I asked if I started selling shrimp, would anybody buy them? And I got like 30 comments saying, yeah, I'll buy them. Yeah, oh my God, yeah, do it. And when I finally had red crystal shrimp on my website, nobody bought them. So, there also comes a risk of that, of buying inventory that nobody wants to buy. And then you're left with a bunch of fish, that you have to feed and take care of. And oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. So I actually, I give every person, every home business that sells fish online a round of applause, because it takes a lot of dedication to do that, and it takes a lot of hard work. And the people that sell fish online are the hardest working people, because it's not easy, So John especially, I mean, he runs a whole store, That's that. I don't know how he does it. Honestly, I really don't, because that's just a lot of hard work. So, round of applause for everybody online that sells fish. Would I start would I start selling snails? Are they even easier to ship? Snails are easy to ship. Yeah, it's just I don't really find a lot of people that want to buy snails. I mean, I don't get a lot of emails saying like, "Hey, why don't you have snails on your website?" So I don't get a lot of requests for them, So I really don't don't sell them. So who is the guest this week? Um, we don't have a guest this week. I was gonna have somebody on, but the timing and their job got in the way. So maybe next week. I'm trying to get some people on. I thought I was gonna have Mass Aquariums on today, but he's not responding to my messages. So, which is okay. I mean, I understand, things happen, but so I'm just waiting for people to respond, So, um, I'm trying to get Joey back on the show as well. Joey, the king of DIY. I sent him an email, so hopefully he'll respond. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there will be more guests later down the road. It's just it takes time to book people and stuff. So yeah, so yeah. Can you do your laugh? I love your laugh. Well, I just did it. It's a habit. I'm glad you like my laugh. um, for the bigger one is 360 liters, while the small one is 27 liters. From what calculators? Oh, okay. Do no one know the goldfish in the carp family? I don't know. I think they are. What types of substrate do you use? Right now I use silica sand. Just silica sand. I was using EcoComplete before in both of these tanks actually, but it just proved to be too messy. And since both my tanks are holding tanks and things are being moved around so much, the EcoComplete would just stir up so much dirt and debris so much, and the tanks were just always dirty. So I switched to silica sand because it's easier to clean, and I don't really have to worry about providing nutrient-rich substrate to my plants anyways, because I dose a lot of nutrients and CO2 already. So I'm pretty much compensating for that loss of nutrients in the substrate. So the plants still grow great. There's no problem with that. But yeah, I use silica sand because it's easier to clean, and it helps the tank stay cleaner and helps me keep my water parameters stable. So silica sand it is. What is the best dry food for tropical fish? Oh my God, let me get my fish food. I actually have been. Hold on, I can't hear myself. I actually have been feeding this food to my fish for years. Tetracolor. I've been feeding this food to my fish since like 2005. I've always bought Tetracolor. And one large can last, I mean, depending on how many tanks you have, but one large can last you forever. But that's the fish food I use. I've used that for years. That's been my only fish food. I haven't really fed them anything else. I like it because the fish go crazy for it. Actually, if I put the container up to the glass, you'll see all the tetras come up. See if they come up. Hey guys, come on. They're playing around on the plants right now. Oh, there's a couple of them. They're like, oh, we're hungry. Okay, you know what? Let's feed the tetras. Let's feed the tetras. I'm sorry, guys, for teasing you. I'm sorry, my babies. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, geez, almost knocked over my whole mixer. Okay, sweethearts. Here's your food. Yay. So I can just imagine them all saying, "Yay, our food! Oh my god, we're eating our food." Man, they're hungry. Look at them go. Jeez. And I only feed them like 3 times a day, freaking pigs. I mean, these fish are so spoiled, and every time I feed them, it's like they haven't eaten in years. I love these little guys. They're so cute. I love my tetras. And by the way, these are the same tetras that I've had in my 50 gallon when it was set up like 2 years ago. So these tetras have been with me for a very, very long time. So I love these little guys. They're my little babies. Let's see. I've been to Jan's Tropical Fish because of your video. It was very well maintained. Can you recommend any fish stores that you haven't done a store tour at already? Well, actually, I'm going to Tropical Imports in Glendale, California on May 16th to film another store tour. So if you want to check out that store, I encourage you to check out that one. But I haven't done a tour of that yet. So, and I personally haven't visited that store yet. So I can't really like recommend them. But I mean, I will say they have tremendously great reviews on their Yelp pages. So I would imagine that they're a terrific store. So yeah, you can check out that one, but I'll be going there on May 16th. I think around 1 o'clock to film a store tour. So I'm hoping this time for this store tour, like people that watch my videos actually go to the store, you know, so they can be in the video. Cause I just think it'd be cool to do that. Cause every store tour that I've done, I've always told people, if you guys want to be in the video, you know, just come down to the store on the day that I'm there, and, you know, here's the date, the time, and, you know, you can be in the video, say hi, whatever, you know. And like when I get there, there's like nobody there. So I guess nobody wants to be on camera, but yeah, like if you guys are in the area, Glendale, California, you know, come on down May 16th to Tropical Imports. So you can be in the store tour video and say hi to everybody on YouTube. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Phoenix ray light, you mean UV light? Oh, talking to somebody else. Okay. Sorry for interrupting you. Have you seen the tetras breed? Not really. I don't think they've ever bred, actually. I'm not sure if I have all males or females, but yeah. I think one time actually I did find eggs or something in one of my Java moss portions, but I couldn't figure out who it was from. It could have been from the autocinkless catfish, but I don't know. Just a reminder, guys, if you want to call into the show and ask a question, the number is 323-282-7779. We got about 22 minutes left of the show, so if you want to call, if you have a question, get your questions in now before the show is over. Will you be broadcasting live for the store or from the store? Actually, you know what? Bad English accent. I try. I'm sorry. I try. Actually, that brings me to something I wanted to mention to you guys as well. With this live show, I would really like to do stuff like that. You know, I'd really like to broadcast live from different locations and, you know, do this show in different places, you know. That would take a lot of, you know, funding to do that. I mean, currently just everything that I had to do to get this started right now costs a lot of money. You know, the PC, the streaming PC, the audio stuff, all the lights and everything. So I was curious if I did like a Patreon thing, if you guys would want to contribute so that we can do stuff like that, because they do have streaming products or devices where you can just hook it up to your camera and it streams the live video through 3G or 4G or whatever it is, and you can stream it to a computer and then broadcast it live on the internet. So I mean, that would be cool to do that. I mean, if you guys want to see me do other stuff with this show, it's just a matter of being able to afford it. So you know, if you want to do a Patreon thing, we could, but yeah, just let me know, guys. You know, just let me know. But the after I'm finished with the store tour and the video is edited and everything, I am actually going to show it here on the live show first. so everybody will be able to watch it live here on the channel, and you guys will be the first ones to see it because I'm gonna broadcast it live through the show, and then upload it after that. So it'll still sort of be live, but it won't be live from the store. I guess you can say that. I really wish you had more viewers on YouTube. The gaming channel, I'm sure, will grow. Yeah. I mean, I'm just thankful for the audience I have now. So I'm just thankful for anybody that that wants to watch my videos that I put a lot of hard work into. So, what type of plants do you recommend for a tank without CO2? Anubias for one. Anubias grows great in tanks without CO2. Anubias, Liguidia, Hygrophila wisteria, Jungle Val grows great with without CO2. You know, just nutrients. If you can dose nutrients, it would grow great with just nutrients and good light. There's a lot of plants. I can't think of everyone off the top of my head, but yeah, Anubias. Oh, Amazon swords would be another great one. Amazon swords, Anubias, Liguidia, Hygrophila wisteria. All those plants grow great without CO2. But the thing is, it's like, even though they grow without CO2, you still have to give them some form of nutrients. So it's always best to, even though you're not injecting CO2, you know, to still dose liquid nutrients. So if you can dose like CChem's line of nutrients, for example, iron, potassium, phosphorus, nitrogen, you know, whatever. If you can do that, that would be pretty beneficial. So, and that would help them then grow a lot better. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there are people that grow these plants in just a tank with light and substrate, you know. But I mean, I don't recommend that because it doesn't seem to be the most successful. But I mean, there are people that do it, but I don't know how. But so. Jacob, I missed lots of video. Please let me know about your parrot because I'm planning to buy one. Oh, my conure? Yeah, he's fine. I just haven't made a video in a while. Jacob, is that sand substrate you're using? Is that sand substrate you're using behind you? Yeah. Yep. I'm using silica sand right now for both my tanks, and I've had it in there for a while, so it seems to be doing a great job so far. The tanks are much cleaner now. Oh my gosh. When I had Eco-Complete in there, they were really, really dirty. Oh, jeez. That Eco-Complete made the tanks so dirty. Java moss without CO2. Yeah, I mean, I've grown Java moss without CO2. It grows really slowly, but yeah, you can still do that. Actually, lots of mosses naturally grow without CO2. So that would work. Dun, 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 dun. What's your favorite fish of all time? Oh my god. Ugh, that's a hard one to answer. Favorite fish of all time? I mean, I think I've said it before. It's an Asian arowana, you know. I'm just pissed off that we can't own them in the United States. So, Asian arowana for sure. Jacob, is silica sand growing your plants well? Well, there's no nutrients in the silica sand, so it doesn't really contribute to much growth in my plants. However, as I said earlier, I do dose a lot of nutrients. I inject CO2. I have really, really high lights on my tanks. As you know, probably know, I'm using Castro LEDs on my 80 gallon, and the plants grow really well. You know, the Liguidia grows about a half an inch to an inch a day. I can barely keep up with it. You know, I'm trimming that plant at least 2 times a week. The Crips grow really fast. They've taken over this small area, this corner of my tank actually. That's all cryptocoryons right there. So yeah, the plants grow great. You know, it's just if you're gonna use sand, like silica sand that has no nutrients, you just gotta compensate with either CO2 or liquid nutrients, and you'll be perfectly fine. So. Paul Martin, Jacob, your plants are growing like crazy. Only problem is I'm struggling to keep the water crystal clear. Is it possible to keep planted tanks crystal clear? Very little visible algae. Well, I pretty much feel that you can't keep a tank clear without a UV sterilizer. Um, you can't keep it crystal clear without that because things are going to happen. Things are going to change in a tank. You know, one week you're going to have a lot of ex- excess nutrients that can make your water cloudy. So I really think that everybody, if you can afford it, if it's within your budget, you should install a UV sterilizer on your tank because it keeps your tanks crystal clear. You know, it really doesn't help though. The big misconception that a lot of people have is that a UV sterilizer gets rid of algae, and the thing is that that's pretty much not the case because I mean it does get rid of like spores. You know, I'm pretty sure. I mean it does somehow get rid of spores through passing the water by the UV radiation, but um, I, I've seen tanks that have had major brown algae explosions, blackbeard algae, a lot of different green spot algae, a lot of different types of algae, and they've had UV sterilizers installed on them. The water was crystal clear, but there were still visible algae on the plants. So I think that UV sterilizers don't completely get rid of algae. I think even if you do have a UV sterilizer, you still have to focus on controlling the amount of nutrients in your tank. Um, but as far as crystal clear water, a UV sterilizer will do that very easily. I mean, I have a 24-watt UV sterilizer installed on my 80-gallon, and my water has been crystal clear ever since I started using that. I manage algae just pretty much by using RO water because it removes the nitrates and phosphates from the tap water, and I just stay up to date on my maintenance schedule. So, I mean, it's it's pretty tough to say, how you can have minimal algae in your tank without knowing your individual tank, inside and out. But I mean, that's what I do. But yeah, the UV sterilizer will keep your water crystal clear. I think everybody should have one. It's just a matter of being able to afford it because some of them are really expensive. I will admit that. Some of them can run easily $150, $200, so they're not the most cheapest parts of filtration for sure, but they do work really well. So your plant guide videos are great. Would you consider doing a plant guide for Liguidia parensis? Yeah, for sure. Yep, I'm actually making I'm trying to make about 2 to 3 videos a week. So ever since I got my new PC or built my new PC, I've been trying to really step up my game with how many videos I produce a week. So I'm trying. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely do a plant guide on that. Aren't Asian arowanas endangered or threatened species? Absolutely not. The government would like you to believe that, but they are not. If you just do a simple Google search or even look for some videos on YouTube, there are farms in Thailand, Indonesia, all across Asia that are breeding Asian arowanas like they are going out of style. Okay, or like they are wait what? Like they are going out of style, or like there is no tomorrow. How about that one? They are breeding arowanas so rapidly that the captive populations of arowana are in an excess. So I really don't think they're endangered. I mean, maybe in the wild, okay, their numbers are a little low, but in captivity, absolutely not. And that, for the most part, that's where the hobby acquires Asian arowanas right now. Of course, like I said, we can't own them in the United States, but Canada, many different other countries, and of course, all across Asia, people buy Asian arowanas like they're regular fish. There are so many, their populations are pretty big in captivity, so they're not endangered. That's just something the government wants you to believe. um, so, but yeah, I mean, I think it's about time that the ban be lifted on them because there's plenty of them available. They're being bred in captivity. It's like there's no reason to list them as endangered. I mean, like I said, their numbers may be lower in the wild, but in captivity, it's entirely the opposite. So no, they're not really considered an endangered species, or I don't think they should be considered an endangered species. So, will you ever keep goldfish again? Possibly, possibly. If we do move into a house this year, I am gonna be building a koi pond, so I'm sure I can throw some goldfish in there. Of course, they have to be big so that the koi fish don't eat them, because koi fish will eat anything that can fit in their mouth. So yeah, for sure. Faux show. Faux show, faux show. Jacob, I watched your video on filtration, and I was just wanting to know if you had any experience with hang on the back filters in an aquarium. If so, is it any good? I have very hardy plants too. The only thing with power filters, as I said in the video, is that they move water around a lot. They produce a lot of surface agitation. So your CO2 levels are either going to deplete very rapidly or just be non-existent, which if you're dosing CO2, it's just a waste of money because you're spending money on the gas and the tank and the regulator, but there's so much water movement and oxygen being put into your system that your CO2 levels are just gone. So power filters are great. They are, most of them are missing that biological aspect of them. As I said in the video, though, there are some models like the Fluval C4, the Aqua Clear power filter, where they do have chambers where you can put biological media. But for a planet tank, I just don't agree with using them for a planet tank because they just produce a lot of water movement, more so than what a planet tank needs. So it just produces so much that CO2 levels just deplete very quickly. So like I said, the best canister filters, or the best filters for planet tanks are canister filters because they're a closed system. I really don't think you can get better than that for a planet tank. So, I know that power filters are a little bit more affordable than canister filters, but some of them are pretty cheap. There's canister filters for, 80, $90, of course, it depends on the size of your tank as well. It could get expensive, so okay, maybe they do get really expensive, but for the most part, the small ones are cheap. So, canister filters are the best for planet tanks. They really are. What are your thoughts about dirt in a planet tank? When would you, and when wouldn't you use it? I personally don't believe in dirt. I believe that planet tanks are artificial environments that require artificial means to support life within them. Some things that are natural we can use in aquariums, but for the most part, aquariums are closed systems. They're not like streams, lakes, and rivers where if an issue arises in one area, it's spread out, it's pushed down the lake or pushed down the river and controlled somehow in nature. Our tanks are closed systems. So when you put something natural like dirt in a tank and there's no other, there's no natural flowing of water that's continuously like new water. Like for example, dirt substrate in a river, a constantly flowing river, that just keeps going and going. It's not closed off, it's just so much different, So when you have dirt in a planet tank, then there's nowhere for bacteria spores, algae spores, nitrogen pockets, there's nowhere for stuff to just go away, besides into your filtration system, which your filtration system is still closed off with your tank, It can create a lot of problems. So I personally don't use dirt because I feel that it's too natural. There's just too many natural things in dirt that cause a lot of problems. I've heard so many stories from people that have used dirt about having major algae blooms, bacterial blooms, and for one, it's just because you just don't know what's in it. Depending on where you get the dirt from, there could be anything. There could even be pesticides in the dirt, because or fertilizers, if you get it in your garden or somewhere where that's been happened, And actually, that's another thing. There's been some people that have talked to me or sent me emails that have said, something like their waters turn like orange or red. I mean, orange or red. When do you ever hear about that in an aquarium? But it's because the dirt that they used had pesticides in it. So there's a lot of risks with using dirt. I will admit there are some people that make it work. Of course, all I'm seeing is a short video of a dirt tank, on YouTube. I'm not seeing the whole life of the aquarium. So I really don't know if the dirt's worked forever for that tank. But I mean, for the most part, from what I see on YouTube, there are some people that have some pretty successful tanks using dirt. So I guess some people can make it work. But as for me, I don't believe in it. I believe that we're creating an artificial environment, that being a planet tank, as natural as we'd like it to be. It's still an artificial environment. And we need to use substrate that has been processed, that has been formulated specifically for this type of use, to be used in a planet tank, something that's not going to require any natural means to support life within it, so I mean, that's just my thoughts about it. But like I said, people have made dirt work in their tanks, and round of applause for them as well. But as for me, I don't recommend it for a beginner, especially, and I personally would never use it. I'd rather save myself probably many headaches and just use ADA soil or Eco Complete, something like that, where I know that I know what's in it. First of all, I know what's been put into it, and I know that there's nothing that's a mystery that I have to worry about that's gonna spike someday, spike my ammonia, cause a bacterial bloom, whatever. So that's just how I feel about dirt, and I think that dirt should just be left in the earth where it's been for millions of years, not in planet tanks. So any more big orders of tropical plants coming soon? Yes, most likely at the end of May. The middle or the end of May is when I'm expecting to be able to order some more Tropica stuff. So I'm doing my best. I should say that the first round of Tropica stuff that I think I ordered 150 tissue culture tubs of those Tropica plants. That first big order was like a test for the U.S. market, because I mean I was the first person online to sell them, so that was like a test, to see the demand for the US market. Of course, Tropica, myself, and my distributors knew that there was a big presence for them, or they're not a big presence, but there was a big demand for them already in the United States, because people have talked about them for years and always wanted them here because they're such awesome plants, But nonetheless, I guess they still wanted to see what demand was going to be like. So that first order, that first round of sales, for that big order that I put in, or that I had on my website, that was just a test, of the US market. So Tropica is getting things together, and putting everything in place so that they can start offering Tropica plants here on a regular basis. So, and I'm expecting that to happen around the middle of May or late May. Okay, so that's when you can expect more Tropica stuff. Of course, I'll probably make a video about it, or to say something about it somewhere, but I will definitely let everybody know. I encourage you guys to, if you want to stay up to date on new things happening with Jacob's Aquarium, or with what we have in stock and stuff on the website, sign up for my newsletter. If you go to my website, which we'll do it right now. Let's cut to my screen capture. How about that? Okay, so if you go to my website, let's type it in right here, Jacob's Aquarium. If you go to my website, you type in Jacob's Aquarium, and you go to the Contact Us page, you'll see this right here, Jacob's Aquarium newsletter. And just sign up with your first and last name and your email. That's all we ask for. And of course, we don't share that information with any advertisers or whatever. And you'll receive an email weekly letting you know what we have in stock and everything, and new stuff coming up with Jacob's Aquarium. And of course, when we do get Tropica plants in, you'll be notified of that as well. So sign up on jacobsaquarium.com/contact us, and you'll be on the newsletter. Okay. All right. I did an Australian accent. Was that better? Somebody mentioned that earlier. Jacob, look at what happened to snakeheads in the USA. That's why they unbanned them in Asia. So everyone on what? Snakeheads in the United States. Yeah, I remember they had some issues with that in Florida. They were eating wild populations of fish, totally ruining habitats, but not Asian arowanas. It's not going to do anything. How long do professional substrates last for? Professional substrates, I guess you're referring to ADA soil or EcoComplete. I mean, to me, I use substrate for the life of the aquarium. You know, I don't ever, when I set up a planted tank, I don't ever have the intention of, like, 5 years down the road of, like, removing the substrate and starting the tank over again. I personally don't really believe in that. For one, you just ruin this amazing aquascape that you've let grow out and worked for a long time, you know. So I don't really believe in that, but I mean, I use substrate for the life of my aquarium. So when things start to deplete, like when nutrients in the substrate starts to deplete, I switch over to dosing nutrients and injecting CO2, stuff like that. I mean, I probably already do that when I start a tank with good substrate regardless. So there's really nothing that I have to do differently when nutrients run out of the substrate. But I don't replace substrate at all. No. I believe that you use it for the life of the aquarium and it stays that way. So by the way, talking about Tropica, I think their method of starting up a planted tank is absolutely spot on. Yeah. I mean, they are very, very good with their methods of how, you know, or how they teach people to, of how they teach people to start planted tanks. The information on their website is really, really great. Their informational videos on their YouTube channel is really good as well. Any aquascapes in the future? Possibly. I'm trying. It's just I'm focusing on the business a lot right now, and since I'm really not allowed to have more tanks than this because my renter's insurance doesn't cover more tanks, I can't really do another aquascape. But like I said, hopefully we get a house this year and I'll have more space. So, all right, guys. Well, I would like to thank everybody for joining me here on Jacob's Aquarium, the live show. It's been a lot of fun, and I really enjoy doing these live shows and talking to you guys, interacting with my viewers. It's a lot of fun because it's a lot more interactive than just responding to comments on my videos, you know. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be back next Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on my YouTube channel. And don't forget, May 16th, I will be at Tropical Imports in Glendale, California to film a store tour. It's going to be a lot of fun, and store tour videos are always awesome regardless, I think. So if you guys would like to join me there or be in the video, you know, a quick segment in the video saying hi, you know, whatever, just come down to the store. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. It's been a great show, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week on Saturday. Have a great weekend, everybody, and have fun with your tanks.